So I had video pop up on my recommendation yesterday, and I haven't watched the video, but the title really stuck with me. It was like how you don't need to really have everything figured out in your life, and it brought up this one memory I had in my senior year of high school where my I asked my teacher, right, what should I do in university? Like, because I don't really know what I want to do with my life. My family is telling me to do one thing, like they're telling me to go towards computer science, but I really don't want to do that because it seems so boring. And then the one degree that I do want to pursue, I want to pursue psychology. They're telling me, no, that's a stupid degree. Why do you want to do psychology? So I'm conflicted because I don't know which one to choose. Do I listen to myself or do I listen to my family? And I swear, bro, my teacher like looks at me dead in my eyes and tells me, "Don't worry, you'll figure it out. You're smart." And it's so insane to think about because this is my teacher that I'm supposed to go to advice, and he's telling me that I'll figure it out on my own. And here we are, a couple years later, and I still haven't figured it out, bro. Honestly, I don't think anybody actually does figure it out. Anybody who tells you they have everything figured out is lying to you. Nobody has their life figured out. They're just regurgitating the same thing that they've been told 10, 20 years ago that, okay, it's all right, you'll figure it out. And this is what you're supposed to be doing. Nobody knows what they're doing, bro. Especially with how the world is going. Everything's just falling apart. Nobody knows what they're doing. Everybody's just going with the flow. And nobody wants to seem like they're the only person who has no clue what they're doing with their lives because then it's sort of alienating them from the rest of the world. The whole world kind of puts this pressure on you to figure your life out by the time you graduate high school. And it's really scary because your brain's not even fully developed yet. Your brain does not fully develop till the age of 25. While you're 25, your frontal lobe, the biggest part of your brain, that's responsible for critical thinking, that's responsible for making judgments. That part of your brain isn't even developed yet by your mid 20s. So, if we're being realistic, you are psychologically still a child until you're 25. Everyone around you is still a child until your mid 20s. So, really, anybody who tells you that you need to get your life sorted out by the time you graduate high school or by the time you finish college is lying to you because you honestly aren't going to have it all figured out. And let's say for some reason, because people do, like there are outliers, people do know what they want to do with their lives early on. Who's to say that this is exactly what you want to do for the rest of your life? Who's to say that you're not going to change your decisions later on? And then once you do change your decisions, you enter this like midlife crisis where you don't know what you want to do and everything's falling apart because you have no control over your life. You have no control over your emotions. You have no control over your decisions, and everything is just crumbling in front of you and you don't know what to do. In that moment, bro, honestly, I don't think anybody actually figures their lives out until they're like 60, 70 years old. Then they're like, oh, it makes sense now. But even then, like you could live your whole life and not know like what you were supposed to be doing with your life, which is kind of scary to think about. But I think that the problem is that we try to have 100% certainty. You don't need to be 100% certain before you make a choice, before you commit. Because let's say you are trying to go to school for university, you want to get a STEM major, and you have no idea which major to choose, you have no idea which career you want to pursue, you have no idea when you want to get married, when you want to have kids, when you want to get a house, if you can get a house in 40 years from now. There's all these questions, there's all these like insecurities that's going to pop up because you cannot be 100% certain. And I think that's how it's supposed to be. You're not really supposed to have all the answers because if you did, life would kind of be boring. Life would kind of be boring if you have all the answers figured out from the start. That's like playing a video game that you've played for 100 times and you decide to play it for the 101st time and you wonder why the game is so boring. Well, it's because you've played it 100 times already, so of course it's going to be boring. So I think school really does a bad job with this, where School kind of teaches us that we need to be 100% certain, or else we're going to fail our exams, or else we're going to fail our tests if we don't do our homework, if we don't study, and blah, blah, blah. I've thought about it, and I've only had one teacher in my life ever, like, let me retake a test that I've already passed. Like, it's one thing for teachers not to let you retake the test when you when you fail. But I've only had one teacher let me retake the test when I've passed. And the only reason why I had to retake it was because I ran out the classroom while everyone was taking the test when I wasn't supposed to. And my teacher didn't want my classmates like copying over my answers, so he let me retake the test. I got like an 85%, not an 85, 95% the first time. He let me retake it, and I think I got a lower grade the second time, which is kind of funny. But the point I'm trying to make is that you're not allowed to retake tests. Whatever grade you get is final. And the teachers will kind of blame it on you when you fail the test and you ask them to retake it. Well, they'll just tell you, well, you should have studied harder. Why didn't you do your homework? Why didn't you come see me? And okay, let's say that you're not a good student, right? And you end up failing all your classes because you don't know how to study properly, because the school doesn't teach you how to study properly. Like, let's forget about all that. Even then, life isn't like that. Life, if you fail in life, if you make a whole bunch of mistakes, you mess your life up, and you're in this position where you have to start from the bottom again, rebuild your life back up to get to a position where you would have been at had you not made mistakes. How would you know that those are actually failures rather than life lessons that life is trying to teach you stuff? Because there are only two solutions. You either be successful the first time, right? You make no mistakes and you kind of look silly doubting yourself in the first place. Or you make mistakes, you learn from your mistakes, you adjust accordingly, and you execute another plan and hopefully succeed again. Either way you choose, you are going to succeed. You choose option one, you are succeeding. Option two, you're succeeding too. It's just taking longer. The only way for you to fail is for you to give up. For you to say, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm throwing up the towel. I'm done. That is true failure, because you are now, there is no way for you to be successful. You are literally throwing in the towel. You're telling yourself, I'm done. I'm not going to do this. How are you ever going to be successful now? That is true failure. Failure isn't not knowing what you want to do, being fearful that you might not actually make the right choices. That's not failure. Failure is when you stop giving yourself the choice to succeed. Because here's the thing. Kobe Bryant, bro. Kobe Bryant, arguably one of the best basketball players, he missed the most amount of shots in the NBA. How can you say that the person who is like one of the most successful basketball players missed the most amount of shots? Because you can't, if he had the mentality thinking, I need to be 100% sure I'm going to make this shot in order to actually make the shot. If he had that mindset, he would never have been the greatest basketball player. If LeBron James had that mindset of thinking, I need to make every shot or else I need to be 100% sure I'm going to make this shot or else I'm not going to shoot it, he wouldn't have had the most amount of points in the NBA. So you kind of had to have that mindset where, okay, I might miss, but I might make it too. You're never going to be 100% certain. You can only kind of go through life, right? You go through life and you connect the dots looking back after you've lived life. You can't connect the dots until after you've lived your life, after you've made mistakes, because making mistakes is one of the biggest teachers of life. You learn from your experiences. That's how you gain wisdom. That's how you actually get smarter. Nowadays, people don't want to use their brains anymore. They just want to outsource their learning from other people, which is completely fine because you're learning from people who are smarter than you, right? But you also need to learn from yourself. You have a brain for a reason. Why don't you learn how to use it? Learn how to use your brain. Learn how to learn from your mistakes. And you realize that you're a lot smarter than you think you are. You can make mistakes. That's fine. But then you learn from them. and then you grow as a person, which will ultimately make you successful. Because what is successful to you? Forget about other people's definitions of success, because people have different definitions of success. People will say having a mansion is a success, having a Lamborghini is success, having a diamond necklace, diamond chains is success, having a wife and a family is success. People have different definitions of success. What is your definition of success? That's what really matters. So regardless of like whatever path you take, you got to realize that there are hundreds of ways for you to get up the mountain. You could go up the mountain this way, you could go around the back and go up the mountain, you could go through the side, so you can go up a mountain as many different ways as you can possibly think about. There is no right or wrong answer. So you got to really keep that in mind whenever you feel like you have nothing, like everything's all, you have nothing figured out in life. And there is one more point I wanted to make. I made a video about this a while back, is that when you turn 18, right, you are essentially a newborn adult. Before 18, forget about your life. You are under your parents' jurisdiction. Every decision you made, your parents were responsible for it, because you are not legally allowed to be responsible for it, whatever the law might say, I don't care. And once you turn 18, you start feeling stressful and anxious because, okay, now I am responsible for my life. I am responsible to go to school. I am responsible to work and make money. I am responsible to raise a family. Everything lies on me now. But you are literally a 1-year-old adult, a 2-year-old adult at that point. How can you be so certain of the choices you're going to make and think that you're going to be perfect in those choices? Because if we think back, like imagine there's a baby, right? A 1-year-old baby walking. The 1-year-old baby falls and decides never to walk again because it's made one mistake, thinking it'll make a mistake again, thinking that, okay, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to walk again the next time I stand up, so I'm just going to sit down the rest of my life. This baby will kind of be like, if you have that mindset, right, you kind of think like this baby is insane. The baby just keeps getting back up and walking again because it realizes that the only way for it to learn is from its mistakes. Likewise, you're a 1-year-old adult, bro. You're a 2-year-old adult thinking that you need your life sorted out by the time you finish high school. No, you don't. You really don't. By the time you're 30, you might not even figure it out. Even in your 40s, you might not figure it out, but that's the beauty of life. The fact that you get to continuously learn, the fact that you get to continuously grow in life, I think that's the most beautiful part, the most beautiful aspect of it. And you just kind of have to live and let go. So if you're worried about not knowing what you want to do, just don't even worry about it, bro. Nobody does.